I had two little kids, 3 and 5 years old. Cute ages, but they have no filter. And one night, my daughter accidentally ended my marriage. My daughter's playing with her Barbies, and she just casually mentions that they went to Grandma and Grandpa's house again. Not a big deal by itself. But then my son chimes in, says they're going there like, all the time now. I'm sitting there with my laptop, and I'm thinking, wait. Her parents live 90 minutes away. That's a 3-hour round trip. Nobody does that 2-3 times a week unless something's up. So I asked my wife about it. Simple question. And honestly, she couldn't lie worth a damn. I could see it on her face. Something was off. I started doing something kinda shady. I'd check the mileage on her car. Just, casually. Her parents lived about 100 miles away, so round trip, that's 200 miles, give or take. She was making that drive maybe 3-4 times a week according to the kids. That's 600 miles, tops. But here's the thing, she was putting on an extra 400 miles every single week that couldn't be explained. The math didn't add up. And look, I'm not a mathematician, but I can count. Someone was lying. And it sure as hell wasn't the odometer. Then one day I sat down at the computer and there's this little yellow sticky note right next to the keyboard. Her AOL password. Just sitting there. So this was back in the early 2000s, right? Now, I know what you're thinking. That's messed up, reading someone's emails. It's an invasion of privacy. And you're right. Absolutely right. But honestly, I didn't even hesitate. I logged right in. And man, the emails were something else. Her and her college best friend going back and forth. They're talking about how my wife's been sleeping with one of her ex-boyfriends from high school. Regularly. Like it's just a thing she does now. But what really got me? They were making fun of his wife. Saying she'd let herself go after having kids. Got fat. I remember just sitting there, reading these emails, and I didn't feel hurt. Not really. I felt clear. Like everything suddenly made sense. I printed them out. Stashed them away. Because I knew I'd need proof later. I called a buddy of mine who's a cop. Asked him if he knew any private investigators. He gave me a name. Joe. Joe was this ex-detective. Maybe mid-40s. Had that whole weathered cop look, Seen everything twice. I showed him the emails, told him what little I knew. He just nodded, took notes. Didn't judge. Didn't give me the, "Are you sure you want to do this" speech. Just got to work. And man, Joe was good. He asked me, "So you want proof for the divorce?"
Proof for the divorce. I want everything. Photos, times, dates, locations, everything.
Joe gave me this look. Like he just realized I wasn't playing around. Joe's report came back about 2 weeks later. And honestly, it was beautiful. Like, poetic almost. Every Tuesday and Thursday. Same exact routine. She'd drop the kids at her parents' place in the morning. Then she'd drive to this chain restaurant, Applebee's or Chili's, something like that, and meet him for lunch. They'd eat, talk, laugh. Hold hands across the table like they're in some kind of romance movie. Then they'd leave. Together. And go to this absolutely dumpy motel off the highway. Stay there for a few hours. After that, she'd pick up the kids from her parents, drive home, and cook dinner for me like nothing happened. Kiss me hello. Ask about my day. Joe had photos of everything. Timestamps. Dates. The whole thing. And you know what really got me? The motel. This guy's supposed to be some successful VP, making good money. And he's taking my wife to a $50 a night motel that probably rents rooms by the hour. That told me everything I needed to know about how much he actually valued her. So I hired a divorce lawyer. Didn't tell my wife. Didn't hint at anything. Just quietly got my ducks in a row. My parents cheated on each other when I was a kid. The whole thing was a nightmare. Destroyed my childhood. My siblings too. So for me, Infidelity wasn't just bad. It was unforgivable. The lawyer explained that in my state, cheating doesn't really matter for divorce. Doesn't affect custody or anything. No-fault divorce and all that. But I didn't care about using it in court. I cared about having documentation, proof, insurance. I asked Ron to dig into this guy, find out who he was, what he did, where he worked, and Joe came back with gold. The guy's name was Oliver. He was married, had 3 kids, worked as VP of sales for his father-in-law's company. Wait, let me say that again.
His father-in-law's company.
Meaning Oliver's entire job, his whole career, depended on staying married to his wife. Staying in her dad's good graces. And get this, the house they lived in, also owned by his wife's parents. So basically, this dude's entire life, his job, his house, his income, all of it belonged to one man. His wife's father. And he was out here screwing around on his wife. The same wife whose family literally controlled everything he had. I remember just sitting there, reading Joe's report, and thinking, this guy's an idiot. Like, spectacularly stupid. But that stupidity, that was gonna work in my favor. I told Joe,
I need you to do
one more thing for me. I timed everything for the same day. Same hour, actually. My wife got served divorce papers at her work. In front of her co-workers. Process server just walked up, handed her the envelope, and left. She called me 17 times that afternoon. I didn't answer once. At the exact same time, Ron was knocking on Oliver's wife's door. Her name was Joanne. Ron said she answered in yoga pants and a cropped oversized sweater. Looked tired. Had that worn-out mom look. You know, the kind you get when you've got 3 kids under 10 and you're doing everything yourself. She had no idea what was coming. Joe showed her everything. The photos. The motel receipts. The whole timeline. He said she went through every emotion you can imagine in about 10 minutes. Disbelief. Then denial. Then this look on her face like she was doing math in her head. Putting pieces together. Then she asked how long it had been going on. Joe told her at least 6 months. Maybe longer. And Joanne just laughed. This bitter, empty laugh. Said she just had their 3rd baby 8 months ago. So basically, Oliver was out screwing my wife while his own wife was postpartum. Taking care of a newborn. Their newborn. Joe said he's seen a lot in his career, but watching Joanne's face go from heartbroken to absolutely cold? That was something else. She thanked him, took the folder, and told him to leave. Said she had calls to make. Joe told me later he actually felt sorry for Oliver. Not because of what was about to happen, but because Oliver had no idea it was coming. Joanne moved fast. Like, scary fast. First thing she did? Went to the bank. Cleaned out their joint account. Every single penny. Oliver had no access to money. None. Then she called her dad. Told him everything. Her dad called Oliver into the office. The conversation lasted maybe 3 minutes. Oliver walked out unemployed. No severance. No reference. Just done. Gone. Remember how I said Oliver's house was owned by Joanne's parents? Yeah. Eviction notice came 2 days later. Oliver came home from being fired to find his stuff in boxes on the lawn, and the locks changed. Neighbors were outside watching. Probably the most entertainment that street had seen in years. Oliver made the mistake of trying to go to the house to talk it out. Joanne's brother was there. Big guy. Protective. Long story short, Oliver left with a broken nose and a police escort. Then came the restraining orders. Harassment charges. He kept trying to contact Joanne, kept showing up places. Got arrested. Spent a few nights in county jail. His divorce was brutal. According to the public court documents. Yeah, I checked. It was a bloodbath. Joanne's lawyers destroyed him. He lost everything. The kids. The house. His job. His reputation. And here's the thing. I didn't do any of that to him. I just showed his wife what he was doing. She did the rest. People say, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. They're not wrong. My divorce was honestly boring compared to Oliver's mess. My wife tried to fight it at first. Wanted to work things out. Said it was a mistake. Begged for counseling. I just didn't engage. Didn't argue. Didn't yell. Just let the lawyers handle everything. We split custody 50-50. I kept the house. She got some money. Standard stuff. The infidelity didn't matter legally, like my lawyer said. But I kept copies of everything anyway, just in case. I walked away with my dignity and my house. Oliver walked away with a broken nose and a criminal record. I'd say the math finally added up. If you think Oliver got what he deserved, hit the like button. And if you want more stories where karma doesn't miss, make sure to subscribe.